Moving on to the watermelon flavored electrolyte powder drink. Let's talk a moment about electrolytes. Electrolytes are essential for everyone. An electrolyte is a mineral that helps with many of your body's functions. Sodium and potassium help balance the amount of water in your body. And also, they help maintain the pH level of your blood. Calcium and magnesium are utilized in every muscle contraction, every movement you make, every time your heart beats. Electrolytes also help fight mental fatigue. Dehydration can signal itself in the form of confusion and trouble focusing rather than just feeling thirsty. So sometimes it takes a while for our bodies to actually feel thirsty, but you can feel kind of like a brain fog before that when you become dehydrated. So electrolytes like magnesium, they combat that brain fog by pulling double duty. So they support not only hydration, but also brain health. So replacing these key minerals every day is necessary to keep our bodies functioning and healthy. The watermelon electrolyte drink comes in a small, convenient stick pack that you can just directly add to your water. It contains an optimal ratio of these essential electrolytes. So there's 315 milligrams of sodium, 160.4 milligrams of potassium, 32.9 milligrams of magnesium, and 25.2 milligrams of calcium. You'll notice that there are 25 calories in this drink. And then one question we get asked is, and these 25 calories mostly come from sugar. And you'll notice there's 5 grams of sugar in the drink. And we get asked the question, why did you put 5 grams of sugar in this drink? And the reason for that is not for flavor. Studies show that sodium is absorbed more quickly from your digestive tract when there's some glucose present. So we added the ideal amount of sugar to optimize sodium absorption. And sodium absorption can be very important. And I'll tell you why. Did you know that you lose sodium, potassium, and a little bit of calcium when you sweat? So I read a study on soccer players, and after just a 1-hour game, they lost an average of 1,896 milligrams of sodium. They lost 248 milligrams of potassium and 20 milligrams of calcium. That's a lot of electrolytes lost in 1 hour of playing soccer. I was really surprised to see that high level. Now, and so you can see why it's really important to replenish sodium when you've been sweating. Now, I used to think myself that I didn't really need electrolytes after I exercised. I typically go to the gym for 1 or 2 hours and I drink a lot of water and I feel great. So I felt like I just wasn't athletic enough to need an electrolyte. But I learned a lesson in the summertime here. I like to hike, and I like to hike in our mountains here in Salt Lake City during the summer. So it's pretty hot. My average hike is about 6 miles and about 2,500 feet, or about 760 meters for those of you who measure things in metric, of elevation gain. So to put it in perspective, that's like climbing 250 flights of stairs. And I sweat a lot on these hikes. And I used to think that just drinking a lot of water and having a snack was enough to keep me hydrated. And as I got a little older, I noticed that I would feel tired and sore after a hike. And so after we launched Active Nutrition, I made an ice cold bottle of the watermelon electrolyte drink, and I had it waiting for me in my car after the hike. And within an hour, I felt completely re-energized. I had no fatigue. I had no sore muscles. So I learned my lesson. And to this day, I have never hiked again without having an electrolyte drink ready for me afterwards. Oh yeah, somebody said, wow, a 10-kilometer hike. Yes, but straight up a mountain. So that makes it even harder. Is there an effect if you add watermelon on tepid water or hot water? And can it be put directly in the mouth like a probiotic? You know, I think that you could mix this electrolyte drink with warm water if you wanted to. I've never tried it in hot water. That's a really great question. It's certainly not going to hurt the minerals at all. Minerals are very, very stable. So I don't see any reason why you couldn't choose the temperature of the water that you like to mix it with. And then can you add it directly in your mouth like the probiotic? You know, because you want to hydrate with the electrolyte, I always mix it in water. So you need to have, I would say you probably can do that, but I would recommend that you don't, because you should be drinking the water along with the electrolytes to rehydrate your body. So just keep in mind from my story that endurance athletes and power lifters are not the only people whose bodies rely on the electrolytes. So like me, you can support your hydration just simply by adding a stick pack of the watermelon electrolyte drink to a bottle of water. So remember, there's no one size fits all approach to weight management or gut health. You are the expert about your body, and nobody understands your feelings or your goals better than you do. Active Nutrition by USANA can equip you with the resources you need to love your body and change your world. So thank you, everyone, for taking time with me to learn about the Active Nutrition products. And these are just the first 4 to launch in your market. So stay tuned for more to come. And I hope you love them as much as I do. So do we have any other questions here in the chat?
Yes, we can actually ask Miss Shelley 3 questions more. 3 last questions more if you still have any questions.
I did see one here in the chat. What can you recommend for weight gain? Remember when we talked about the Active Plus, that it's a very great supplement to help support your healthy metabolism, which helps you with weight management goals. You also have a Nutrimil, which is a fantastic meal replacement shake in your market. I highly recommend that as well. I personally drink a shake almost every single day before I go to work. It's just such a simple thing for me to make to get a great breakfast before I head out the door. And it's fast. I just do not have time to make breakfast in the morning. So I typically choose to have Nutrimil on every single work day, whether it's winter or it's summer here. It's one of my favorites. So those are 2 things that I recommend.
Okay, I think there's still one last question. How many ml of water to have the best result of the watermelon? So the
that is, you know what? That is a fantastic question. I typically mix it in with no less than 12 ounces of water. Let me look at, I'm going to just sneak back in the presentation a little bit and see if it's on your nutrition facts. Let's see. I don't see it here. I'm looking close up at the label here. I'm not seeing it here, but I personally don't mix it with any less than 10 to 12 ounces of water. And I typically mix it with our water bottles in the US are typically about 16 to 20 ounces. And I find that to be just like the perfect size bottle to mix it in. Again, remember, when you're replenishing electrolytes, you're also working on your hydration. So, the more water, the better. But to get that watermelon flavor, I think the sweet spot is about 12 to 16 ounces of water.
So 12 to 16 ounces it is. And another question would be, is it allowed to children ages 5 to 12 years old?
That's a really good question. In the United States, people aged 12 and older are considered more of the adults. And this product is formulated for adults. So my recommendation is to actually consult with your child's doctor if they're under the age of 12 and ask them if this is an appropriate amount of electrolytes for a child. Because the smaller a child, again, younger a child, typically the smaller their body, the less that they require.
There you have it. So